presentation of TFNN. The Tom O'Brien Show is produced every business day. Tom takes your phone calls toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
This is awesome. Comment-vous. We're going over to Paris. What's happening?
Hey, Tom, it's Adam from Paris. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Adam. Yourself?
That's good. Long time no talk. I appreciate everything you've done for me and my family over the years. So,
well, we appreciate you growling problem with us.
Yeah, sir. I've done gold reports and all the softwares and all your books and read it. Generational thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Now, Tom O'Brien.
Welcome, folks. This is Jacob Shoup filling in for Tom O'Brien. He will be back Tuesday. Everything's going all right. Just having me fill in for this week, so no worries there. Looking at ES Mini, trading down about 0.05%. We're kind of flat right now. The Russell down 0.26%. NQs off about 0.07%. Dow futures trading down 0.41%. Gold really had a nice pop-up today. 2,051.90, up about 1.62%. We'll talk a little bit about gold, kind of as it stays as kind of a hedge against inflation. We'll talk a little bit about what Larry Fink said about Bitcoin, kind of in the same vein. Silver really having a good day as well, trading up about 2.75%. Sadly, our boy copper is off a little bit, almost by 1 full percentage point. We're seeing a massive tick up for crude oil futures. We got a lot of stuff going on regarding that, kind of a confluence of, I guess, a good environment for increasing gas prices. You have issues going on in the Red Sea. You have issues going on, now in the mainland of Yemen. Supply issues still persist in Libya with one of the major fields they have under strike. And then, of course, our listeners out in the Midwest are getting an insane amount of snow. So much so, I believe that the Iowa caucus was kind of put on standstill because of how bad that storm was. So we have a lot of stuff going on. That's kind of a perfect storm for seeing crude oil kind of pump up going forward, and really energy costs going up as well. Brent crude up about 1.23%. Let's take a look. Tesla. Now, we'll speak about Tesla a little bit. Yesterday, when I was on the show, we were talking about CPI a little bit and how that was a bit higher in December. Now, based on some of the polls from larger finance firms and business, they're saying that some of those components within CPI were a bit inaccurate. Namely, one of the big drivers in December was increasing housing costs. And a lot of polls from, like, as I said, big financial firms are saying that's not actually entirely accurate. And we are seeing reduction nationally in the cost of rent and homes. We'll have to wait to see. One of the things I was also talking about that could lead to a less than stellar CPI report for this month is going to be these kind of supply chain disruptions that we're seeing caused by the conflict in the Red Sea, and then also caused by some issues regarding water in the Panama Canal. So we have Tesla down right now about 4.17%. They said starting January 29th, and I believe that goes to February 11th, they are going to cease momentarily construction development at their German plant. And that's just till everything kind of gets ironed out. Now, a lot of companies are saying that this might be the case as well. This is leading to a pretty, 5% down. Well, we're at 4.18% down is, that's somewhat significant. It's on usual volume, not always a great sign with it. But what I would say to that is this, again, is definitely a reaction to news. Okay, the past few days, ever since December 27th, we have seen Tesla selling off a little bit, and that could be due to a lot of reasons. But I can say pretty positively that this major sell-off today is, well, I can't say positively, but these are the moments that I like getting into stocks. When people sell off on major news, that's very short term, right? And that's what I see going on with Tesla. And that's a personal preference on my end with it. But we'll talk a little bit more about that going forward. Steel Dynamics had a big sell-off again from that 121 area, trading about 112.93. The dollar up about 0.21%, so a minor divergence, at least with the dollar and the precious metals. Looking at the Qs, going to 408.94. Google 144.26. Meta at 373.71. Disney trading back up into that $90 area. Apple dethroned as the most valuable company. Obviously, Microsoft took over there briefly yesterday, and I think again today it established itself. Lucid, we were talking about a little bit yesterday. That's a sad stock. We'll see how much staying power they can have long term with that, especially in a very pricey and kind of competitive EV market. The banks. All right, let's talk a little bit about this, okay? The profits mostly fall in the fourth quarter. The banks are looking that it's going to be okay going forward, economically speaking. Of course, they've had to pay a lot regarding everything that happened with Silicon Valley Bank. Citigroup actually not doing too poorly right now. Now, they had pretty abysmal earnings, but what they came out and said was that they're going to slash an inordinate amount of jobs. Now, that's obviously positive for a lot of shareholders. Let's talk a little bit about this. Three of the nation's biggest banks said Friday that their profits fell last quarter as JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, and Citigroup deal with the lingering effects of higher interest rates and the industry costs of last year's banking crisis that caused the collapse of Silicon Valley and Signature Bank. Also First Republic Bank, and some bagpipes for all the guys who got in there thinking it was going to pop back up. As a learning experience for everyone. All the banks had one-time charges in their quarterly results, many of them specifically related to their own businesses, making this quarter particularly messy. But setting aside the turbulence of the banking panic and the charges, the banks had mostly a strong 2023 driven by a resilient job market, a U.S. consumer who continues to spend and not fall behind on their debts despite the impact of inflation, and higher interest rates that have boosted revenue across the industry. Of course, banks always love higher rates like that because they get higher returns on their loans. JP Morgan Chase said Friday that its profits dropped 15% in the first quarter, despite the bank reporting record quarterly revenue. JP Morgan's profits fell because it was required to pay $2.9 billion. Let's take a look on here in JP Morgan's charts. It paid $2.9 billion to the Federal Deposit Insurance Corp, that's the FDIC, as part of an industry-wide one-time special assessment by the regulator to cover the $16.7 billion in costs to cover the uninsured depositors caught up in the collapse of SVB. Other banks like Citi and Bank of America are paying that assessment as well. Kind of interesting. We'll talk a little bit about Citigroup. Most of the international banks, Citi has announced plans to wind down, restructure, or sell off its businesses in the last couple of years. The bank is selling Banamex, its Mexico affiliate, and is effectively liquidating its Russian operations since the war in Ukraine broke out. Citi posted a net loss of $1.8 billion in the fourth quarter compared to $2.5 billion profit the year earlier. Along with the FDIC assessment and some other one-time charges, the profits of Bank of America fell 50%. And then Wells Fargo had some issues as well that we can talk a little bit about as we're going forward. Take a look at Boeing. There's a lot of stuff coming out with Boeing. Obviously, they had the door fly off their airplane. Not great coverage for them. The FAA is going to start looking at them a lot more closely. We'll talk a little bit about that when we get back from the break.
Currencies, commodities, and bond markets are as important as ever right now with how they're driving the volatility in equity markets across the globe, which is why it's a great time to try out Teddy Kegstad's Tiger Forex Report. Teddy Kegstad breaks down the Forex markets every Monday using his 30-plus years of experience as a trading veteran of futures, Forex, stocks, and options. Teddy releases his weekly Tiger Forex Report every Monday morning with coverage of all the major currency pairs, including the dollar index, the euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar yen, as well as many more, and he also has weekly coverage of the crude oil market and the 30-year T-bonds, as they both influence Forex markets tremendously. When you sign up for the Tiger Forex Report, you also gain instant access to Teddy's 60-minute webinar archive he just hosted, Forex Strategies and Fundamentals, What is Behind the Tiger Forex Report. For all the details and to start your 30-day Tiger Forex Report subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Are you ready to take your trading to the next level? Introducing Tom O'Brien's award-winning newsletter, Market Insights, your key to successful active trading. Tom O'Brien, renowned for his expertise in the financial markets, has designed Market Insights to be your daily guide to profitable trades. Tom publishes his daily Market Insights newsletter every market day before the market open, along with updates when warranted. Stay ahead of the game with Tom's real-time analysis and trade recommendations delivered straight to your inbox. Whether you're a seasoned trader or just starting out, Market Insights provides the edge you need to navigate the markets with confidence. Ready to join the ranks of successful traders? Head over to TFNN.com and subscribe to Market Insights today. Don't miss out on this opportunity to supercharge your trading results. Market Insights comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee for all new subscribers, so you have nothing to risk. Don't miss out on this opportunity to revolutionize your trading game. Head over to TFNN.com right now to join the thousands of traders who have already experienced the power of Tom O'Brien's award-winning newsletter, Market Insights, firsthand. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN has just launched their new trading room, the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. And now they are expanding their reach with the Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. In the Tiger's Den, you can look over the shoulders of Tom O'Brien and the other TFNN hosts while they analyze charts during their live Tiger TV programs, and join an interactive trading community with hundreds of members exchanging ideas. Interact with other tigers and tigresses as they share trading ideas, news analysis, and discuss the market action all trading day, even at night and on the weekends. The Tiger's Den at Discord is accessible on mobile or tablets as well, so it's always at your reach. To sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders, just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
Welcome back, folks. Before we went to the break, we were talking about how the FAA is going to really put the hammer down on Boeing going forward. Of course, what happened as one of their planes, the MAX 9, 737 MAX 9, basically lost its plug flying. So you have a big gaping hole in the side of the airplane. Not very good looks. This has also come after reports earlier last year, I believe in June, that they were giving out loose bolts and some kind of material that Spirit was giving. I think it's Spirit, see if I can get the name of it. It's a Kentucky company. Anyways, they lost a ton of money going forward. It's Spirit Aerosystems. So essentially what happened is this is not good. The Federal Aviation Administration says it will increase oversight. This is going to be super expensive for Boeing, okay? And they're probably going to have to pay for a third party to do oversight over all of their fittings, which I was surprised to learn was not actually something that they had to do prior. Of course, you only have two really major producers of these kind of commercial aircraft, which is going to be Airbus and Boeing. Boeing obviously has a ton of contracts with the U.S. government. You know, this is like an interesting thing, right? Boeing had in the recent years, they had this big push. Something by like 2026 or whatever, they're going to have $16 billion in free cash flow for the company, okay? And this was some way, you know, in their duty to shareholders, kind of maximize value. And of course, it's far too early to tell, you know, what were the steps that led up to these significant failures. But I mean, even remember in like 2019, two of their planes crashed and everything was landed. And it's this idea that they have this front-facing kind of talk. It's like, well, we're just going to increase cash flow. And they keep making mess-ups like this, right? And now I've spoken on here a lot of times how even associates that I have in, you know, just kind of industry in general, right? I bring up my friends who work for a company that weld large liquefying natural gas tanks, right? Or gas tanks that liquefy gas, okay, so on and so forth. A lot of pressure. You need these welds to be like very well done, and they're saying all these new guys they're getting in are so bad at it, they're failing all these kind of tests. At least the finished product is, it's pushing things out by an extreme degree. It's costing companies, you know, millions, if not probably billions over a few years. This is like one of the number one tank producers in the world, really. And I'm seeing that like in things like Boeing now, right? Where it's just the quality is not as good as it used to be. And I don't know where the disconnect is, where you're making things that can be potentially dangerous if they're done incorrectly, right? In the case of Boeing with this door and their 2 crash jets, and then things as well with my friend's company who make these big tanks that liquefy natural gas. Like it's a very strange thing to kind of see this keep coming up in our society. So anyways, Boeing's down pretty significantly, again, down another 2.16% today. This gap down that we saw a few days ago is on pretty immense volume, and it'll stand to see if they can recover back up to that 267 area. And again, you know, if somehow some cost cutting was being done, and again, I'm not saying that's the case, and we don't know, but to reach that kind of mark for free cash flow, I mean, look, now they're going to have to pay so much money for third parties to kind of analyze and test their product. It's just not, you know, it's not a spot you want to be in, especially, you know, looking at the CEO and what he has to do and stuff like that. All right, we're talking a little bit about the first segment. Tesla is halting factory production in Germany as the Red Sea attacks disrupt supply chains. The electric vehicle maker said in a statement Thursday that its factory near Berlin, that makes the Model Y vehicles and the batteries as well, will pause from January 9th to February 11th. Fresh sign of how the hostilities in the Middle East are disrupting global manufacturing supply chains. And I was saying, too, the Pentagon's trying to add more defense capabilities, and then we just started bombing Yemen, which is where the Houthis are, with the UK as well. And there's just a lot of tensions rising in that area. And now you have Iran, like the actual regular military of Iran, seizing ships as well, not just Houthi-backed rebels. Very interesting situation, and I think we're going to again see a pretty hard labor down on the supply chain. Of course, that's what our military really does, and especially with other things in NATO, it's really to normalize and kind of protect trade routes, right? I mean, the Romans did that, the Mongolians did that, right? It was all about kind of securing trade routes, and so ideally this can be resolved quickly, even with the kind of inclusion now of militaries, and hopefully it doesn't kind of escalate past that. But I do think for at least some period of time, this is going to be quite an issue in the Red Sea. Kind of pivoting away from Tesla, but we'll still talk about ideas in renewable energy. Of course, Basil was on Tuesday with me, and he was looking at his uranium stock. I believe that was UEC, but don't quote me on that. You can go check the archives out on TFNN.com. That would have been the Tuesday interview. But we're looking at some actually pretty interesting developments. First, let's talk about uranium prices. Kazakhstan's largest producer, okay, and their major nationalized company, which is Kazatomprom, is saying they're expecting shortfalls in the next 2 years regarding supply of uranium. So let's look at this a little bit. If you're in uranium, this might be interesting to get a supply squeeze going on. I'm just going to pump up the price of that. The Kazakh mining company, responsible for more than a fifth of global output warned on Friday that its production this year would be lower than expected due to shortages of sulfuric acid, which is essential to extract uranium from ore. It added that its production plans for next year could also take a hit if limited access to sulfuric acid continues throughout this year. And should the company not succeed in catching up with the construction work schedule at the newly developed deposits, Kazatomprom 2025 production plan may also be affected. And there we're seeing this as well. Uranium surges to 16-year highs. Let's take a look. We can take a look at UEC for it. This is Uranium Energy Corp, up 11.18%. If you are trading with Basil, congratulations on that. That's pretty solid. And then, of course, you have Quad U trading up about 7.29%. And I really do see at least nuclear, not necessarily uranium, but a whole profile of different kind of nuclear materials being used going forward. And why do I say that? Well, it seems like China has just produced pretty effective, what's called a beta voltaic battery. And let me see if I can try to pull that up for you quickly. Essentially, what these batteries use is something called tritium, and the batteries can last for an extremely long time. And this is something like 50 years going forward. What's good about beta voltaic, now, you have this kind of descending, I guess, order of destructive kind of radiation you can get. You have alpha, which is highly ionizing. You have beta and then gamma. Gamma is the stuff that like destroys your cells. It's used to clean like oncology equipment. This is going to be beta. Now, beta can cause what are called beta burns. What's very decent about these is actually pretty easy to defend against it, right? You only need a few millimeters of, I suppose, some kind of shield that it doesn't happen. So let's take a look here. The nuclear battery produces power for over 50 years without needing to charge. We'll talk just a little bit more about the science and what that kind of means for us as consumers going forward into the next decade. Folks, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Welcome back, folks. Before we went to the break, we were talking about a big breakthrough in beta voltaic power. The Chinese are building a battery using this. Usually this is going to be tritium, and I think this is what they're using in this as well. A Chinese startup has unveiled a new battery that claims it can generate electricity for 50 years with the need for without the need for charging or maintenance. The Beijing-based Betavolt said its nuclear battery is the first in the world to realize the miniaturization of atomic energy, placing 63 nuclear isotopes into a module smaller than a coin. Okay, so not just tritium, a bunch of different things. The company said that the next generation battery had already entered the pilot testing stage and will eventually be mass produced. can meet the needs for long-lasting power supply in multiple scenarios, such as aerospace, AI equipment, medical equipment, microprocessors, advanced sensors. One of the things you have to be worried about when you're using, nuclear power for pretty important processes, right? Like something like medical, like a pacemaker or something like this, is that you obviously have these half-lives, right? And something like 50 years for a phone. Well, we all get rid of our phones. I mean, the max I've held onto a phone has been like 7 years. So most people will toss those things pretty quickly. But what happens is you can get less and less efficiency going forward, right? So if it's I don't know what the half-life of all these isotopes is going to be. I would assume it's going to be actually pretty long, and the effect of this will be something about 50 years. But that can still generate power for a long time going forward. Anyways, I think that's just kind of some interesting information to note as well, because I think going forward, a lot of things will start being powered by nuclear. We already use the Mars rovers. I think that uses plutonium, which is certainly interesting. The battery works by converting the energy released by the decaying isotopes into electricity through a process that was first explored by the Soviets. The Soviet Union and the United States were able to develop the technology for use in spacecraft, underwater systems, or remote scientific stations. However, the thermonuclear batteries were both costly and bulky. It was kind of interesting. And this is really the number one thing to know as well. The atomic energy battery developed is absolutely safe, no external radiation, and is suitable for use in medical devices such as pacemakers. Okay, so they will use it in that, artificial hearts, and the cochleas, which is like the ear, and the human body. Atomic energy batteries are environmentally friendly. After the decay period, 63 isotopes turn into a stable isotope of copper. Well, look at that. That solves our copper problem, right? No, just saying. Anyways, more kind of news on China, and this really affects Apple in a major way. I'm concerned now. Does the average investor really care about this? It's kind of hard to say, but what I think can have happen is when you get these cycles in businesses when they update kind of all their new hardware. So, for instance, I could say for Cisco, right? Like Cisco uses Apple products because they are known to be a lot safer. And obviously, I think Cisco probably did their due diligence on something like that. But what we keep seeing come out consistently is that there are significant security flaws with Apple devices, right? And so for the common person, that doesn't matter, right? Nobody's, in theory, trying to get our data or anything like that. And if they're going to get our data, it's going to be through some other thing that has nothing to really do with us. But, in the context of, let's say, national security or things, like Cisco and different kind of incident response teams, we even see it with China, right, where you're no longer allowed to use an Apple product if you work for the government, essentially, right? And that's could be a major issue for for Apple going forward. So what happened to Apple now? Well, China says that they cracked basically their encryption service for AirDrop, which is huge. And crazy if true. And I'll do some more research. This story just dropped, and this weekend I'm just going to do it because this stuff is super interesting to me and of the most importance going forward in this century. But if true, that's a significant problem for Apple encryption in general, right? Not just for AirDrop, but Chinese state-backed experts have found a way to identify people who use Apple's encrypted AirDrop messaging service. According to Beijing municipal government, AirDrop allows users to send content to Apple devices in close proximity. Okay, and then also that has been kind of lessened a little bit as well, right? The ability to AirDrop because of issues with potential side loading and everything. But anyways, the service was widely used by participants in the pro-democracy protests. Okay, right. The Beijing municipal government's Justice Bureau said experts at the Beijing Wangzheng Dongzheng justice system. Thank you. I'll take the applause. No, I'm joking. Appraisal Institute in the capital had devised a way to reveal an iPhone's encrypted device log. Not good. From there, they could identify an AirDrop user's phone number and email accounts. The Monday statement appears. I wonder if this was the same. I'll read more about it too when the story gets more developed and stuff like that. But I wonder if it was the same kind of vulnerability that existed that allowed complete control of the phone that we saw in things like Pegasus and Triangle DB. Anyways, that's something that Apple's going to have to address, I think, going forward, right? And again, that's always their biggest thing. This isn't just some kind of, boogeyman I talk about. You have Tim Cook talk about all the time how, you're not going to get infiltrated with this, right? Your Apple device isn't going to be compromised. The biggest issue is side loading, which is being sent something, it has nothing to do with the internals of the phone in the way that the infrastructure is developed. And now we see that that's actually not true, and especially if what China is saying is true as well, which I think is not a good thing if that's the case. And I wonder, too, how I think our government will respond to that, right? Like, what do you do if you're, again, like the president, or if you're someone like a staffer? Like, I would love to get an insight into how they're dealing with this kind of information. If you know anything, Jacob at TFNN.com. Promise we'll keep it all, confidential entirely. So, anyways, going forward in some more tech news, and this will be nice to look at going forward. I think Broadcom has some skin in the game on this, but Wi-Fi 7 has been released. Wi-Fi, of course, is like a standard, basically, of just ways, it's a bunch of protocols for computers to communicate with each other. The biggest name in laptop showed at CES this week with new designs, new chips, and usually some way to sneak in the term AI, of course. But most of them also quietly arrive at one of the most important upgrades for all, they were going to say competitive gamers, but really, when you hear things that are good for gamers, what you really need to think about is just how quickly data can be processed, right? And that's what's going on. So this is great for gamers, but it's also amazing for data being processed and transferred over the network is this new standard for Wi-Fi, which is Wi-Fi 7. One of the biggest benefits of Wi-Fi 7 is that it allows for one device to connect to your router on multiple bands. Interesting. A feature called multi-link operation, which gives your laptop options when it comes to where to funnel its packets. And that basically, if you have better chips and better thinking in the computer, it can become more efficient with how it sends it over the network, which I think is really fascinating. That means that when your 5 gigahertz band is at capacity, it'll send data down the 6 gigahertz pipe and vice versa. Very interesting. Take a look at that if you are curious in IT, and if you're not, I would really recommend trying to wrap your head around it, because going forward, these are the kind of things that are really going to be quite profitable going forward. We can talk a little bit more about Walmart. Give me 1 second. We were talking about how they are putting out 1.8 million drones now to try to, I think they're focusing that like around Arkansas and everything. They're really pushing the envelope, and what like a sleeper kind of hit, right? I mean, Walmart has kind of been out of the, hasn't been as like attractive, right? As something like Amazon or Meta, Microsoft. But Walmart's really cracking down on some of these tech advancements, and I like that for the company. Folks, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Direction's daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
The reality is that navigating financial markets can be risky. Markets can be chaotic and difficult to understand. Having the latest market advice can help you turn this chaos into a key for creating winning trades. At TFNN, we understand that it can be hard to find reliable market news. That's why each of our market experts offers their very own market newsletter, a must-have tool for every trader out there striving to find an edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets so you can analyze the market before you trade. Try any of our great newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Just visit the Newsletters tab on the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den, hosted at Discord. TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
Tom O'Brien.
Welcome back, folks. Jacob Shoup filling in for Tom O'Brien. We're talking about Walmart before we went to the break. Walmart's trading down about 0.19% today at 160.83. Looks not great on the short term with some high volume coming down here. Of course, they had some kind of just bad earnings in November, but we're still doing actually pretty all right at 160.82 on the full idea here. Why did I bring them up? Yesterday I was talking about how they're expanding their drone delivery service, which I think is a major positive for the company and will be adopted. Furthermore, they're releasing something else, which is using AI to essentially track their customers' data. Now, this is an opt-in service. You have to pay for it. So, you know, from a financials perspective, having that like constant, if you can get a constant kind of cash flow, I suppose, going forward, and you can predict that, you know, from quarter to quarter is positive for them. That kind of subscription-seeking behavior is something that a lot of investors always like. Essentially, what this AI is going to do is be able to help you restock your fridge. It's very interesting. It's called in-home replenishment. It will create a personalized algorithm that will restock customers' essentials exactly when they need them, whether it be every week or on odd numbers of days. It just adjusts over time, too, which is also really cool with AI. You have this kind of more dynamic profile development. It adjusts over time, as I just said, which is, again, good and novel. I think that if you look at it just from like an individual household or consumer perspective, it's not as cool until you realize that this is definitely going to be marketed out heavily to restaurants. Okay, and when I was in college, I think when I was like 19 maybe, I worked back of the house at a fine dining Southern restaurant, and that was one of the things that chef taught me. Was how to basically manage the fridge and manage all the ingredients needed, manage the hardware that we needed. And listen, I mean, that's not a simple task whatsoever. And if you slack at any moment on those kind of things, you get a really bad runaway system, right? So having an AI that can kind of see all of these things and make decisions, essentially, you essentially just have to eliminate a decision in that environment, will be massive. And I think Walmart could see some pretty good gains through that, which I think is pretty unique. Again, we're trading at 160.84 for Walmart, down about 0.17% today. Moving forward here, some news just for the country in general. We have Biden announcing a plan to bail out students for loan debts under $12K. Biden announced Friday that student loan borrowers enrolled in the SAVE program, Saving on Valuable Education, will have the remaining debts zeroed out next month. The plan, which Republicans say will see taxpayers foot the bill, applies to borrowers enrolled in SAVE who took out less than $12,000 in loans and have been in repayment for 10 years. The president said in a statement, I think this is kind of interesting going on. Around 3.6 million student loan borrowers have already seen their loans reduced to $0 monthly as part of the plan, which was originally announced last year in the wake of the Supreme Court striking down the White House's plan to cancel out $430 billion in student loan debt. I do think Probably, like long-term, economically speaking, that will be a positive. Obviously, you're going to get more money in people's pockets. We've seen at least, even in periods of inflation like we're having now, like spending is still going, right? I don't think as many people are like keeping money and just hoarding it for long periods of time. I think if they get money, they spend that money. We definitely saw that too with the pandemic as well, where it wasn't just essentials being purchased, but a lot of luxury goods being purchased as well. Maybe not luxury, but more creature comfort things that weren't directly related to survival during that time. And I think that's kind of more indicative of like the general society as a whole and kind of like cultural tastes. If you get some money, you just kind of want to spend that. And we see savings being low among a lot of young Americans. Now, of course, some major things like rent and insurance are extremely high, and at least in the realm of like insurance, it's going up. But still, being someone who's 27 in that, I can say that it is common for a lot of people my age just to kind of spend and not really save. What are we looking at Palantir for? Trading at 1671 currently. They are getting contracts from the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, and the War Tech partnership. Let's talk about that a little bit. That's obviously pretty good for them. They've reportedly entered into strategic collaboration with the Israeli Defense Ministry to provide technology support for the nation's military operations. Both parties have mutually agreed to harness Palantir's advanced technology in support of war-related missions. Palantir introduced its AIP, which is artificial intelligence platform, last year, a system for intelligence and decision-making capabilities of analyzing enemy targets and suggesting battle strategies, which is huge. The strategic partnership aims to significantly aid the IMD in addressing the current situation in Israel. Earlier this week, Chapman, that's the CEO of Palantir, said our products have been in great demand. And I think you're going to continue to see that go up, even when this kind of conflict in Gaza, if that kind of peters out or ceases to be, I do see the current administration in Israel dumping a bunch of money and to kind of prevent what happened, I guess, from ever happening again. Well, it's always good business, I guess, in defense like that, sadly. I was talking a little bit about, I just made a little quip about it, how car insurance is going up. This is obviously hitting young Americans very hard. I mean, mine went up an absurd amount. Now, I got hit 2 times, which is a shame, right? I moved into the city, and then also premiums were just going up as well. And it was sad, too, because I was trying to, I was bluffing the representative. I was like, well, I'm going to go see what else I can do, but I really couldn't get a better plan anywhere else. Anyways, car insurance premiums around the U.S. are soaring. We'll talk a little bit about that. Several factors are driving up the cost of insurance, including lingering issues from the pandemic. Vehicles are more expensive and costlier to replace. This is huge, with inflation driving up the cost of computer components and other parts required for repairs. A shortage of mechanics around the U.S. also means it's taking longer to fix, which that's really unique, I think from the 90s, when I was a kid, my parents told me, and they're both in finance, they're like, you need to go to college and get this degree, and you'll make a good living for yourself. And that's valid. But I think everyone was told that, and I'm not sure if that was the correct way to set up society. It's also a shame that around that time, and I'm just kind of inferring this just because of how society has changed and directed more towards this idea of you've got to go to college and you've got to get these degrees. It's like a shame back then if some of the what are called blue-collar workers were kind of looked down upon, and now look at it, right? I mean, we have a shortage of mechanics. I mean, we have a shortage of air traffic controllers. We have a shortage of just kind of more basic entry-level welders that are valuable. And obviously, this is the hidden hand of the market where these guys are going to make a lot more money. But it's just interesting seeing how this now really is impacting us in a major way. All of that raises how much insurance companies have to spend covering the cost of rental cars for customers while their cars are in the shop. Of course, they're saying that climate change plays a role with more vehicles damaged by extreme weather, leading to more claims and in turn higher premiums. And so it's really just this perfect storm going forward. And yeah, definitely. Okay, let's take a look. Is Florida on here? There we go. Nevada, they're paying $240, and Florida, $243 a month. Still all right. Don't move to St. Petersburg, really. There's so many people here now, and they just increase the cost of everything. Folks, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
ready to take your trading to the next level? Introducing Tom O'Brien's award-winning newsletter, Market Insights, your key to successful active trading. Tom O'Brien, renowned for his expertise in the financial markets, has designed Market Insights to be your daily guide to profitable trades. Tom publishes his daily Market Insights newsletter every market day before the market open, along with updates when warranted. Stay ahead of the game with Tom's real-time analysis and trade recommendations delivered straight to your inbox. Whether you're a seasoned trader or just starting out, Market Insights provides the edge you need to navigate the markets with confidence. Ready to join the ranks of successful traders? Head over to TFNN.com and subscribe to Market Insights today. Don't miss out on this opportunity to supercharge your trading results. Market Insights comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee for all new subscribers, so you have nothing to risk. Don't miss out on this opportunity to revolutionize your trading game. Head over to TFNN.com right now to join the thousands of traders who have already experienced the power of Tom O'Brien's award-winning newsletter, Market Insights, firsthand. TFNN, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
The reality is that navigating financial markets can be risky. Markets can be chaotic and difficult to understand. Having the latest market advice can help you turn this chaos into a key for creating winning trades. At TFNN, we understand that it can be hard to find reliable market news. That's why each of our market experts offers their very own market newsletter. A must-have tool for every trader out there striving to find an edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets so you can analyze the market before you trade. Try any of our great newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Just visit the Newsletters tab on the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN. Educating investors.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Welcome back, folks. This is Jacob Shoup filling in for Tom O'Brien. We have a caller on the phone. That is William, looking at Wheaton Precious Metals. William, are you there?
I'm here.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing well. What are you taking a look at regarding Wheaton?
Well, I'm just wondering if it looks like it's put in a huge base from June, well, actually May, all the way back around where it hasn't finished out a nice base on it. And I was just wondering if you think there's going to be some follow-through on that particular stock. I traded it years ago and did well with it, and I just got back interested in it again.
Right. Well, I mean, Wheaton's huge, right? They're a great company to be in. They just invested, I think, about $20 million into Vista Gold. That's for about, I think, like 1% of their Mount Todd mine. So they're kind of expanding out. That's a good sign for them. They kind of retested this low here around about March 6th and then came back up. One of the things I'll just say on this is looking at some of the other stocks today, right? Obviously, we have gold and silver really rallying. Gold contract's about 1.57 to the upside, and then silver we're seeing about 2.7. If you look at some of the other competitors in it, you have Franco-Nevada, Pan American Silver, you have First Majestic. Let's look at FNV's up about 3.6% today, Pan American up almost 5%, First Majestic up about 5.5%. At least right now, those stocks are doing a little bit better, right? I think Wheaton, obviously is showing it has a lot of strength. And even when we were having that pullback a few weeks ago in the precious metals, Wheaton was still showing a ton of strength, right? You weren't getting a massive pullback in Wheaton, which I thought was unique, where you really were seeing that in some of the other equities as well. Regarding having a significant takeoff, let me take a look here real quick, what I have written for it. You know, again, you're right. Putting in this base around kind of this area, you had a retest, you're coming back up, looking probably like a target around the $53 area for that. The fact that it's not doing as well today, it's still up, but underperforming some of the other silver stocks is, I don't know, I would look at some of the other ones as well. So I hope that helped a little bit, William.
It sure does. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, folks. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great rest of your evening.